150 years ago, in a place similar to this, something special happened. People, places, and things may have changed, but what was started here continues today. 3 groups of men came together to form something larger than themselves, a Grand Lodge of Freemasons. Their pattern was an established one that began before our country was formed. Here is a part of that story. Our fraternity is a part of Colorado history. Among the first gold seekers that were settled here were Masons. While still part of the Louisiana Purchase, a part of the area that would someday become Colorado was an early site of Masonic meetings. While we know of a number of Masons roaming the West, very few lodge meetings were held. Those that were held were in typical ancient fashion, secluded in high and low areas. In 1858, just over 150 years ago, in the Pikes Peak region of Kansas and Nebraska territories, 7 Masons gathered together for a Masonic meeting in the settlement of Auraria, near the confluence of the Cherry Creek and the South Platte River. The first lodge meetings were not held in an impressive edifice, but in a humble log cabin, somewhat like this one. In 1859, Auraria became Denver, and a great city was born. The gold rush had attracted men from all walks of life. Many of them were Masons. In May 1859, gold was discovered in Gregory Gulch between the communities of Black Hawk and Central City. William M. Slaughter and 2 other Masons preempted a block of ground in what would become Central City, and there the first Masonic temple was built in June of that year. Today, all that remains is a monument erected in Central City by the Grand Lodge of Colorado to commemorate this first lodge. We can only imagine what it was like to experience one of their meetings. The oldest lodge building today, built in 1863, is in Central City. Since the lodge room had no windows, the murals on the walls were painted using candlelight by Brother John Glendenin and finished by Brother George Brewer in 1871. The Masons of Auraria applied to the Grand Lodge of Kansas for a charter to form a lodge. A dispensation was granted, and on October 1st, 1859, the Auraria Lodge, UD, held its first meeting in the Ferry Street building. By February of 1861, the territory of Colorado had been organized to try to hold the gold fields for the Union during the Civil War. That same year, one regular lodge, Golden City No. 34, was chartered by the Grand Lodge of Kansas, and 2 other lodges, Summit Lodge No. 7 and Rocky Mountain No. 8, were chartered by the Grand Lodge of Nebraska to operate in the area. On August 2nd, 1861, these 3 lodges joined together to form the Grand Lodge of Colorado of Free and Accepted Masons. These lodges became Golden City No. 1 in Golden, Summit No. 2 in Parkville near Breckenridge, and Rocky Mountain No. 3 at Gold Hill near Boulder. In December of 1861, 2 additional lodges operating under Kansas dispensation in Nevada City and in Auraria became Nevada No. 4 and Denver No. 5. August 2nd, 1861 was an important date for area Masons. The territory of Colorado had been formed, and 3 regular lodges came together to form the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Colorado. It would be 15 years later that Colorado would become a state in 1876. Many influential men became part of this organization. By 1870, Henry M. Teller was elected Grand Master. Teller was a United States Senator, Secretary of the Interior in the Chester Arthur administration, and the silver candidate in both the Republican and Democratic parties. He was a member of Shivington Lodge number 6, later to become Central City Lodge number 6. Brother Teller served 7 times as Grand Master of all Masons in the jurisdiction, which later became Colorado, a title that refers to the presiding officer or chief administrative executive. In 1880, Lawrence N. Greenleaf was elected Grand Master. He was a member of Denver Lodge number 5 and was hailed as the poet laureate of Freemasonry. His poem, The Lodge Room Over Simpkin's Store, was the inspiration for the recreation of Friendship Lodge in the pioneer community of South Park City in Fairplay, Colorado. In August of each year, the Brethren of Doric Lodge hold a meeting in the Upper Lodge Room, and the poem is read to commemorate this part of our Masonic history. One of the many services that the fraternity has provided in former times and continues to provide today is the laying of cornerstones in public buildings. This ceremony is the same ceremony used by George Washington to lay the cornerstone of the United States Capitol in Washington, D.C. The first cornerstone to be laid in Colorado was the Denver Pacific Railway Depot. One of the most elaborate was the cornerstone dedication of the Masonic Temple building in downtown Denver in 1889. On July 4th of 1890, the Grand Lodge laid the cornerstone of the Colorado State Capitol building, and it was rededicated exactly 100 years later in 1990. Cornerstones can also be seen at the Children's Hospital, Denver International Airport, and at more than 1,000 other public buildings throughout Colorado. Freemasonry in Colorado is alive and well today. We have many historic buildings to honor our humble beginnings, and we appreciate the men who started it all. The lodges of Colorado are governed by a Grand Lodge from headquarters in Colorado Springs. The building contains a general office, museum, and library. It is adjacent to the Masonic Center, which contains lodge rooms, a dining hall, and meeting rooms utilized by the Southern Colorado Scottish Rite Consistory, El Paso Lodge number 13, and Tejon Lodge number 104. In 1864, with a donation of $150 by Brother John C. Brandley, the Grand Lodge Library was created. It now contains over 3,000 volumes. Brother George B. Clark of Pueblo Lodge number 17 was the original curator of the Masonic Museum. Brother Clark developed the genealogy of Masonic Grand Lodges of the United States, a chart of Masonic heritage known throughout America. The Grand Lodge of Colorado is much more than just these buildings. Today, Colorado Masons are active in creating an observable way of life through education, moral standards, charity, and community involvement. In 1900, Brother E.L. Foster, a member of Washington Lodge number 12 in Georgetown, donated his yearly salary of $60 as Grand Lecturer to form the Colorado Masons Benevolent Fund. This nonprofit corporation administers the charitable commitment of Colorado Masons to distressed brethren, their widows, and children. It also administers scholarships, renewable for 4 years, as well as matching grants to Colorado high school graduates attending Colorado colleges and universities. More than 1,000 scholarships have been presented through this program at a cost of over $9 million. Brother Charles F. Jacobson, Grand Secretary, was one of the most gifted orators in the first century of Colorado Masonry. Upon his death in 1920, the Jacobson Educational Foundation was established. The funds generated from the publishing of the manuscripts of his speeches in a book titled Gavel Strokes were made part of the Benevolent Fund to provide additional scholarships. In January of 2002, the Colorado Masonic High School Band Camp was authorized by the formation of a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. This annual band camp offers scholarships to Colorado high school band members and gives them a chance to participate with other gifted musicians. The camp utilizes the music department staff of the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley as clinicians to provide specialized music education. The week of campus activities includes daily rehearsals, a concert, a talent show, culminating with the band marching in the Greeley Stampede Parade. As a fraternity, Colorado Masons sponsor and help the state's inhabitants with contributions of time and money for the Right Care program at the Children's Hospital, a child ID program, and numerous local lodge activities. From these humble beginnings, we continue to grow with 131 constituent lodges and over 12,000 Colorado Masons. Just recently, our oldest and newest lodges were among 18 lodges honored by national recognition from the Masonic Service Association for their involvement in their respective communities. Both are heading into the future with a new spirit and direction. The future of Masonry in Colorado looks good. Men are still seeking what Masons hold dear, the principles of tolerance, faith, truth, and integrity. These principles will still be needed in the future, as they have been for the past 150 years. Men seeking these principles will find them, and much more, within our lodges and in the hearts of their brethren who have truly become men matching our mountains. Production of this video on the occasion of the 150th anniversary of the Grand Lodge of Colorado has been made possible by the beneficence of the estate of Harold Johnson, who was the Grand Lodge office administrator for over 54 years.